Okay guys, looking at week 7, day 1, quarantine day 37, beginning of week 7, our last 2 weeks of the competition prep program. Whereas last week we were kind of looking to kill you with the conditioning pieces, kind of overwhelm you with the amount of metabolic conditioning that we were doing during the week. This week's going to be a big step back from all of those like fast AMRAPs. They're split up with some rest time in between, and we'll see more of kind of the traditional WOD format for our conditioning pieces, as well as a lot fewer conditioning pieces this week. This is designed to kind of give you a little bit of recovery as we go into what should have been the competition. So we're just trying to maintain our metabolic conditioning at this point, because we're building all the way up through the prior 4 or 5 weeks to get to last week and a little bit of the week before, where we were having so much conditioning work that we were hoping to be at the point where we were able to maybe not necessarily go all out on every piece, but we would be able to survive every piece, just like as if we were at competition, going from, you know, WOD 3 to 4 to 5 with the floater in there or whatever across 2 days. Now though, a little bit of recovery, stepping back from the metabolic conditioning, but at the same time trying to maintain the conditioning that you've built over the course of the program. Remember, it's really easy for us to build conditioning, but it's also really easy for us to lose that conditioning if we don't maintain it. Meanwhile, our strength is something that takes a lot of time to build, and it's something that actually takes a lot of time for us to lose as well. But we can also recover a lot faster from heavy days than necessarily going all out on the intensity on all the metabolic conditioning pieces and burning ourselves out. So still this week we'll have heavy weights. This will be the last week of really heavy weights, our last chance to get comfortable underneath the weight. And really that's what this is about, is being comfortable under heavy weight. Not necessarily at high rep ranges, but at simulated fatigue, which is what we'll be seeing here with the push jerks and kind of a medium rep range with the front squats for today. But that all being said, week 7, day 1, we're almost through, just the 2 weeks left. So we'll get kicked off with today, which is actually a pretty fun day. I did this late last week and really kind of enjoyed doing this one actually. So easy warm up, movement prep with the push press, front rack lunges, and scap retractions. Really the scap retraction is just for you to be moving your shoulder blades back and forth like you're going to need to be doing for your pull-ups and your ring rows, preparation for those movements. That'll take us about 10 minutes, and we'll get started into the first strength. This will be our push jerks, 9x2, so doubles at a heavy weight, anywhere between 70 and 85% is what's written on Sugar WOD. But if you are feeling good under the weight, if you are moving it easily, meaning that you're linking these push jerks, it's not come down and rest, it's coming down and straight back up without any problems, then you can go ahead and throw some more weight on there in the middle sets there, trying to get as heavy as possible. Try not to have any failures, but at the same time I do want you to be moving heavy weight. And that translates to heavy skill work, kind of like the heavier it gets, the more fatigue we're simulating, or if we do see a strength portion in the competition that is max weight for 2 reps, 3 reps, or even just a single, you're prepared for that with these push jerks. So heavy skill work here, the cycling of the barbell, pulling the barbell back down into the dip, immediately exploding back overhead, and being fast getting underneath of the barbell, so it has to move a minimum distance for those push jerks. Giving you 20 minutes to work on that, so from the 10-minute mark to the 30-minute mark, be working through this. That means that you need to take some rest in there because it is meant to be heavier, 2 to 3 minutes between each set if you can. But I mean, if it's moving, you know, super easy, then feel free to load up on the weight, take less time to rest, and really push through these push jerks. Then we'll get onto the front squats. Last set of heavy front squats that we'll be doing. We do have back squats programmed for later in the week. Squats are probably the most important thing that we're going to be doing as far as building our foundation, or at least solidifying our foundation before we get into this competition. But strength 2 front squats, 3 sets of 6 between 75 and 85%. Again, just like we were doing with the push shirts, if it is feeling nice and easy, moving, like hot knife through butter, go ahead and load up on the front squats heavier than that 85%. No fails, but go heavy on it. Have fun with this. I love heavy squats especially, so this is your opportunity to really load up on the bar if you have the weight and you can move it. If you don't have the weight, back to that tempo, or one thing that you can do instead of the front squats at tempo, you can take that lighter weight and do split squats. Again, 3 by 6 on each leg, add a heavy weight with the split squats. It'll achieve the same purpose as those tempo front squats if you just want to mix it up a little bit. And it's a little bit different training stimulus in that you'll be working one leg primarily instead of both at a time. And that's always a good thing for us to throw in there, is that unilateral training. Again, you'll have about 15 minutes to get that done, so take a few minutes between each set, make sure that you're well rested so we don't get any fails on these heavy front squats. So that'll be from the 30-minute mark to the 45-minute mark, and then we'll be going into conditioning 1. This is meant to be done at a fast pace, 5 rounds, sounds like a lot, but it's only 12 and 12 reps of things that you should be able to string together really quickly. So 12 pull-ups or 12 ring rows and 12 burpees to plate. So you'll do your burpee and then jump up on a plate, jump back down and do your burpee for the 12 burpees to plate. This should not take you any more than 10 minutes. Really looking for somewhere between 5 to 10, and for really people who've got their pull-ups, or if you're doing something, doing ring rows really quickly, being able to get this done in under 5 minutes. I got it done in under 5 minutes. I did not expect to go that fast, but that is what happened. 5 rounds, fast pace, but what we really want to see here, especially since we're going back to the normal WOD format without any rest thrown in there, is that you're able to maintain your splits. So that first round, you're going to kind of figure out how this impacts you as an athlete moving through these movements, and then round 2 should be where you hit your pace. You find your pace, you hit your pace, and then you need to maintain that pace so that round 5 is done in the same amount of time as round 2. If there's a huge difference between round 5 and round 2, that means you screwed up your pace either. If round 5 is a lot longer than round 2, obviously you went too fast with your pace for rounds 2, 3, and it fatigued you too much and you were unable to hold on to that. So you know better that you need to back off. You should have already probably noticed if you were slowing down through rounds 3 and 4 that you probably found a wrong pace, and you should try to reset and get rounds 4 and 5 to be the same. If round 5 is a lot faster than round 2, obviously you left too much in the tank and you should have gone faster. That one's a little bit harder to figure out midway through, but again, if you're paying attention to the clock as you're going through all 5 rounds, you will probably notice if maybe you should be going faster, and go ahead and pick up that pace. So 10 minutes given on that one, 45 to 55 minute mark on that. Again, trying to move fast, trying to move the entire time through this without taking any breaks between the 5 rounds. This is what we've been preparing for, being able to go through all those 5 rounds faster than we would have at the beginning, because now we don't need to take the break in between, because our metabolic conditioning has been built up over the course of the past 6 weeks to the point where these 5 rounds are easy peasy, lemon squeezy, can get through them without having to stop and collect ourselves. Then lastly, conditioning 2, 55 minutes to 80-minute mark. Looking for 8 rounds of 2 minutes and 30 seconds of any cardio, whether that's running, biking, rowing, farmer's carry, suitcase carry, waiter's carry, whatever it is that you want to do. Really just trying to find a consistent pace and hit that same exact pace for the same distance across all 8 rounds for those 2 minutes and 30 seconds of work each time. Then you'll take 30 seconds of rest between each round, be a little recovery before you go back into it. But again, trying to set a pace and maintain it across all 8 rounds so I'm hitting the same distance every time. Don't sandbag this and take this as your opportunity to take it slow, make sure that you're hitting the same distance every time because it wasn't challenging. Challenge yourself to do this, but don't break yourself off trying to reach the same distance every time. If you went too far on that first one, and the second, third, or fourth round, it's looking like you're not going to come anywhere close without totally exhausting yourself, set a new mark to meet and do that for the remaining rounds in there. That wraps up today's work. A little note as far as the program for comp prep is concerned. Since we are in the last 2 weeks, you really need to be trying to think about what is working for you or has worked for you across the past 6 weeks as far as timing for your nutrition, when are you eating your meals, when are you working out, when you're taking your pre-workout before a workout or not taking your pre-workout if that seems to screw you up, like you are midway through the WOD and because you took your pre-workout suddenly you have to take a shit. Maybe we don't want to take a pre-workout before a sprint workout. I'm a sinner in this regard, you know. I'm always making a run for the bathroom, and maybe that caffeine has something to do with it. Same way that, you know, coffee makes you shit, pre-workout does the same thing. It's the caffeine that's in it. So think about these things. Think about your recovery, what you need to be able to do in order to be ready to do a second session during the day. If that means taking 15 minutes to stretch, do mobilization, anything that comes in after a WOD or between WODs, what you need to do to be ready. Keep that all in mind as if we were having the competition next weekend and you were going to need to have that stuff ready to go as part of your game plan for those 2 days at Wk7. No, we're not going. But the better prepared you are now, the better prepared you're going to be when we do go to the next competition. Whenever SummerSlam gets rescheduled for, or if maybe the next thing that we go into is ride or die at H&L down the road at Kapa'a Quarry. Whatever it may be that we end up doing. This is to prepare you for competition, so put in the work that you need to do to be prepared for competition whenever that happens to be. Again, any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you'd like to see, please let me know. I know we're kind of close to the end here, so not a whole lot more that we can add to things, but still here, answer your questions, do whatever it needs to be done to get you ready for the competition.